Now, I don't know about you, but I love a good bit of bargain hunting. And this month, well, the bargains have been coming thick and fast. To find out what I've bought and whether it's any good, why don't you come and join me? My name is Jess B. This is my tech department. Los Gehts. We all know that PCBWay make fantastic PCB boards, starting from just $5, and include things like, well, getting a replacement board for this old ZX Spectrum. What happens if your 3D printer isn't up to the task? Or you're having a little trouble with your CNC machine? Then look no further than PCBWay. In fact, if you can design it, PCBWay can help make it a reality. PCBWay, way more than just PCBs. For more information, check out the link in the description below. So yes, this month I have been out bargain hunting and I find lots of different things. Now a lot of these have come from eBay, but quite a few things have also come from Vienna itself. And one of the first things I want to show you is this fantastic TV. Oh, it's not light, that's for certain. But this Loe, or Lion in English, brand TV is actually quite splendid, isn't it? It's a Sephiroth model, and it actually looks to be quite good quality. Now, the reason I bought it is twofold. First, well, it has this cool sort of purple shimmer to itself there, which I'm really enjoying. It's kind of nice, and it's got this glass panel. Mostly, though, because I also bought it because it has 3 inputs with SCART, S-Video, composite, and old style RF. So this actually makes it a fairly decent mid 2000s TV that is good for retro if you don't have any CRTs. How much did I pay for it? 20 euros. I mean, you can't argue with that, and it's the perfect thing to use to show our first machine, which is going to be this. This is a VTEC. And these days we know VTEC, of course, from their educational computers and products. But back in the early 80s, they produced this little 8-bit machine. It has 16K plus 2K for video RAM, so pretty good. And, well, until about 2 months ago, I'd never heard of one. And one came up in Salzburg for a reasonable price. It had a fault, so I thought, what the hell, I'll go and pick it up. So I did. Now then, the weird thing is, the fault is that this works, but we'll get into that later. But first, let's switch it on and see what it does. So to start with, the VTEC does have a standard RF output, but also a composite monitor output, which is very useful, which is also very good for this TV. So let's switch this on and give it time to warm up. It also runs on 9 volts, and it's a 9-volt barrel jack that's center positive, and it makes very clear that it's center positive. If you think of computers like the ZX Spectrum from the early 80s and mid 80s, they were always center negative, including the original Mega Drive was center negative. So the fact this tells me quite quickly and easily that this works differently, good thing. Where's my power supply? Oh, here we go. So, TV's on. I'll plug this in and, well, there we go. Video Technology Basic version 2, and it's ready. So what's the problem with it? It needs clean, but also it doesn't switch off. There's a little power switch on this side, and I can click it to my heart's content. It doesn't switch off. So that's kind of an interesting fault, because I mean, what can be wrong with a switch that it doesn't switch off? Well, we'll have to find out in another video. I'm not Adrian's Digital Basement. We're not going to talk an hour for this. I will, though, say that this is kind of a really cool machine, and it's got a little bit of Aussie history. Anyone who's used the Dick Smith VZ200 will be familiar with this little machine here. But that, as I say, is a job for another video. In the meantime, this works perfectly fine. Just doesn't shut off. So let's move on to the next thing I bought and check if it works, because I haven't tested it. Come on. Next up, well, I have something really interesting. This is a Toshiba HX51. It's an MSX1 based machine and I'd never heard of it. I grabbed this for just over €100, and it turns out this machine was made specifically for the Italian and Spanish market, which makes sense because, well, it came from Italy. It looks in fantastic condition. I haven't switched it on. It has a few little quirks and foibles, like this, which appears to be, I mean, to my mind, it's almost like a, well, an FM radio, but it's not. I assume it's a grounding cable for the RF component, but I don't know. For many years, of course, if you had a TV, I think this was very common in the US as well, you would have your antenna and there would be a little grounding screw you plug that into, and maybe that's what that's for. But on this machine, it's still attached. Let's plug this in and see if it does anything. Right. Machine's plugged in. I've got it plugged into the RF here. Let's switch it on and see if we can tune something in. So I think the switch is here. Oh, there's power light, so that's good. Alright, I need the remote, because nothing is easy. Now I need my glasses, which means the camera's autofocus will screw up. It hates my glasses. Menu. Let's go. Audible, automatic program switch. Starts it. So one eternity later, and yeah, we have Microsoft Basic version 1, copyright 1983, 28,851 bytes free, so 30 kilobytes, and we're okay. Look at that. And does it work? Yeah, it all seems to be good. That's really cool. So now, I don't know anything about these machines. This will be the subject of another video, and I'm really excited to dive into this actually. The fact it works is both wonderful and disappointing, but on the other hand, how freaking cool is this? An MSX for €140 I think I paid? Yeah, I'll take that. But what's next? Well, let's go from this to something that may be a little bit more fun and not exactly any good. Stand by. So, next up in this cavalcade of nonsense is this Atari Flashback. This was one of the first consoles to try and cash in on the Atari name, and it's bloody terrible. The reputation is that games don't work correctly, there are terrible flashing issues, but I managed to get this brand new in box, and I mean brand new in box, for about the same price that it came out with, €39. It was in our local charity shop here in Vienna, and yeah, I couldn't resist. So let's plug it in and see if it actually works, and see how bad it is. I mean, to start with, what is that supposed to be? It's not really a console, but not really not. I mean, there, and that needs 9 volts. That's it, positive. Yeah, so I will just use the same connector now. Alright, so let's switch it on and see what we've got. I've tried not to disturb the cables too much. And there we go. That's that's an interface, isn't it? Okay, so let's have a look. We have Adventure, AC Battle, Asteroids, Battle. I must say, I do like these little versions of the 7800 joysticks. They fit very nicely in the hand. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Reset. Food fry, hold house, millipede, smash a saboteur. Yard's Revenge. Let's select that. Oh, select doesn't actually select this thing, you push the button. Alright, here we go. We're off to a good start. But, I mean, there is very noticeable jail bars on this to begin with. And there's a lot of pixelated fringing here. Alright, okay, I mean, Come on, there you go. As much as I like this little joystick, it does kind of feel flimsy in the hand. Come on. Oh wait, here we go. Spinning thing again. Oh, I killed myself because I hit the wrong button. Alright, well, how about some good old-fashioned asteroids? Again, very noticeable jail bars. Oh, this is the 7800 version. I've already disappeared. Whoa! Well, I'm assuming I just died. There we are, okay. Oh! Interesting they chose the 7800 version, actually. Okay. And maybe one other. A bit of breakout is always good, I think. Although how you play that without the paddle, I don't know. Let's find out. Ah, happy memories. I think that's enough of that. But the Atari the Atari Flashback console, the first of many, I think they made like 9 or 10 of these things, and I have one in my collection now. I don't think I'm going to be using it a lot, but it's nice to have. Do have a thing for minis, but next. Right, now then, next, for two things I can't actually test, and the reason being, well, one of them is not from Europe, and the second one, well, you will see. So let's start with the one that's not from Europe. This is a Tomy 16-bit graphic computer. It's known as the Tomy Tutor, and I think in the UK it was released via Grandstand, but I'm not sure. Someone will correct me, I have no doubt. I bought this for €31. No one really wanted it, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. But for starters, it is 110 volt only, so I'm going to have to find a way to change that power supply out for something a little more European. And yeah, secondly, I don't know really what to do with it after that, but as a collectible, it's actually really cool. It's got this wonderful little chiclet keyboard that doesn't feel as bad as you'd expect. Great, mind you, but yeah, it's okay. I'm also interested by the claim of it being a 16-bit computer. This is from 1985, so I mean maybe. Which brings me on to my third problem with this machine and why we're not turning it on immediately anyway, even if I did have an inverter. Listen. There's something loose in there. So we're going to have another look at this another time, but this is actually quite cool. And so cheap as well. €31. No one wanted it. What is that? Of course, for something everyone wanted, how about something I can test and power up, but I can't use a monitor? I bought me an Amstrad CPC 464. Now, I didn't have these growing up. I was a Spectrum kid. And I saw this one for £40 in the UK. And by the time I paid postage and customs fees, this was more like 90. But how cool is this? I have an original Spectrum. I have original Amstrad CPC 464. I call this one lucky. For starters, the enter key is completely jammed. I did get a free copy of a game, which without my glasses on I can't tell you what that is. Spannerman. I got a free copy of Spannerman. So he can go in there, and that counter seems to work, so that's good. But this is stuck, and if I turn around here, well, the speaker is sticking out of the case a little. It's bending up the PCB. It's kind covered as well in paint nicks and whatever. I suspect this has been in someone's loft. And yeah, lucky. Seems very apt. But I'm kind of excited to actually get this up and running. So I just need to pick up a monitor cable so we can plug it into a regular TV, and then we'll see if we can get this old Amstrad CPC back in the land of the living with a good refurbish. For now, however, it's just a very long cricket bat sized computer that is frankly taking up a lot of shelf space. Still, cool as that. One or two more things to go though. One of which, well, I was really hoping to find one, but you never know. Look at that. So this has to be one of my favourite finds ever. Not because I have any great love for the machine, in fact these were notoriously not good. But to find one out in a random charity shop that thought it was a CD player, it's an absolute steal. This is my Philips CDI player. There it goes. How cool is that? Sadly, I don't have any games for it right now. I also don't have the video module that will go in the back, so I can't play any videos on it. I did, however, buy the remote for it, and well, that's dead. That's great. Apparently, the battery I put in here, batteries in here are not working, but the machine actually works quite well. All right, that needs a bit of unsticking. But in general, this machine is fully working. It plays CDs perfectly fine, and I have no doubt that when I put a few CDI games in here, it'll work perfectly well as well. Which kind of brings me to my final bargain of the year. But to do that, well, I can't be in this part of the tech department. But let's just say this Philips CDI matches it perfectly. Come on. So this is my Philips 29-inch CRT TV, and well, it's a monster, it really is. It's the last of the line match line machines. It's got a totally flat tube at the front. It has Dolby stereo surround. It has all the bells and whistles, and it cost me just €10, and possibly my back trying to move it. But it was €10. It's not without its issues. As you can see, I'm not sure if it's picked up on the camera, but there's a little bit of ghosting that's going on right now with this, with it. And it only happens actually with the composite inputs. There's also some kind of issue with the switching board on top. But for €10, I'm going to pick that up every day of the week. It's fantastic. I love it to bits. Although at some point I'm going to have to move it. I'm probably not going to love it so much. Well, we'll see. Well then guys, there you have it. I really hope you enjoyed coming along with me, looking at some of the, well, weird and wonderful machines I've bought in the last few months. And I also hope that you've got some idea now what the tech department is actually going to grow into. Because it's a question that's been on my mind for 2 years since I've started this nonsense. I get this a lot from my friends and relatives, you know, what are you going to do with all these machines? And it's a fair question. I have somewhere around 140 machines in this tiny little space, to say nothing of monitors and everything else, plus parts to build at least another 10 machines. My friend Sarah has wonderfully found a bunch of PC parts again, and I'm hoping to get at least 2 new machines built out of those ready for Windows 7 fun or even Windows Vista fun. Although Windows Vista and fun seems oddly anachronistic. But it's a fair question to ask what I want to do with it, and the truth is, I kind of know already. I would very much like to set up a museum. Now, we're not there yet. However, this past year I have taken a full-time job for the first time in my life. I've always worked freelance beforehand, but I took a full-time job this year that is designed to help me build up this collection to a museum standard. And it's kind of where I need your help. Now, to start with, let me just say I don't want money. I'm not asking you to give me money or even computers. I would like to know, though, what computer would you put in a museum? Tell me about the machine you had growing up, because whilst I have a pretty broad range of knowledge about various computers and systems, there are things I simply don't know about. For example, the Toshiba HX51 MSX machine, well, that was only sold in Italy and Spain. So until I came across it on eBay, I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it. And that's interesting to me. The Tomy tutor, that's interesting to me because I'd never heard of it. And it's machines like that I want to get and put in the collection. And I need your help to find them, because for every machine I can think of, there are 4 out there that I have never heard of. Now, I'm not looking at starting a museum anytime soon, but I will say that I have done a lot of preliminary work on this. I've used 2 case studies. RMC The Cave in the UK is a fantastic study of how to, well, turn a YouTube collection into a working museum. And I know Neil is wonderful and open, and we've talked a lot about how he got it running, what the pitfalls are, and how he keeps the plates spinning. On top of that, and I must say I'm incredibly indebted to this man, I had the idea back a year ago I wanted to do this, so I got in touch with Bart at the Home Computer Museum in the Netherlands. Now, if you haven't been to the Home Computer Museum in the Netherlands, well, honestly, it's everything I would like my museum to be. And Bart is just a wonderful human being. He is incredibly open, and he has discussed with me not only how he set his museum up, he has shown me how it works. And very recently I visited, and he gave me a full tour, explained everything, showed how everything worked. And yeah, he's been immensely open. And I can't, Bart, if you're watching, I can't thank you enough for that. Because between Bart and Neil and hundreds of others of you in the retro community, you actually gave me the inspiration to do a lot of this stuff. I do have one slight downfall in Vienna, insofar as that we do have a retro games museum here. It opened back last year. I didn't think much of it at the time, but in fairness, I don't want to compete with that museum. But in what I'm trying to do, I won't. That museum is very much a case of consoles and other things, with the odd 16-bit and 8-bit machine thrown in there for good measure. But I'm looking for more of a broad overview of the whole of computing. So that's where I need your help. Tell me about the machines that you had growing up. Tell me about the machines that you know was available in your country but not available anywhere else. For example, the BBC Micro was put into schools in the late early 80s, and I know Italy had something very similar that was, well, it wasn't a BBC Micro, but it was a computer that was put into schools. Same idea. I've never come across one. What is it? Where can I get one? Give me leads. Because if I can build this collection up to around 400 machines, that should be sufficient to really open an exhibit. Before that, of course, we've got to move, because I have been in this tech department for 2 years, and basically this entire space was 18 square meters. Now, this past Christmas, I was very lucky. My landlord offered me the opportunity to rent a space out there where we just looked at the TV, and yeah, that expanded it. It put my rent up, but I was able to expand a little bit out there and kind of create a cozy little play spot there. And our new Philips TV is very welcome there. But by the end of this year, we're going to have to move, because it is crammed in here. And if I'm going to collect 400 computers, well, we've got a lot of work to do and a lot of shelves to fill. So all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did stay to the end of the video, well done. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I can waffle on. All that's left to say is, down below, you'll find the usual social media stuff. And when it comes to computers, especially old ones, remember to reuse, rediscover, and, well, replay. Because you never know. That old computer that you found in the attic that you remember as a kid might turn into a massive collection. My name is Gehts. This has been my tech department, and will certainly be so again. Thank you so much. Tschüss.